We are the Gujarat Technological University. Since its inception over a decade ago, GTU has been empowering young and curating minds to realize their true potential. Over 4 lakh inspired students are enrolled with one of the premier academic universities in India. With more than 450 affiliated colleges in its fold operating across 5 zones of the state, GTU, the International Innovative University, your place to move forward.
Hello, in this video lecture, we are going to learn the important terms related to perspective view. Let's start with the picture plane. Now, what is picture plane? It is the plane on which the perspective view may appear. It may be a transparent plane or an invisible plane, but the perspective view appears on the picture plane. It's an imaginary plane. Let me draw a two-dimensional plane. Consider this plane as a picture plane. So now, the perspective view of any object will appear on this plane. Okay, so sometimes it may be behind of the object, so like this. Sometimes it may ahead of the object. Sometimes object may touch the picture plane, right? Since there are 3 possibilities. Object is behind the picture plane, picture plane is behind the object, or third option, object is touching the picture plane. In all three cases, a perspective view may differ because the change of distance from the picture plane. Let me consider another terminology, that is observer. Now, who is the observer? Who observes the things like us? Generally, a human being is the observer because we are looking at the things. Suppose we are walking on a road and we look at the statue. We are observer. We look at the statue. Na? So here, that statue is the object and we are the observer. So, observer may be a human being or an animal or a bird. Let me give you some examples. When we are observer, actually we are not the observer. Our eyes are observer because we are looking through the eyes. Same way, animal or bird, they are also not observer. Their eyes are the observer. If I'm going to click a picture with a camera or mobile, it will appear on a screen. So here, camera lens is the observer and that screen is a picture plane. This is the simplest form of example related to picture plane and observer. Other than this, sometimes a bird is flying over a building. So what bird can see? The top view of the building, that is the observer. Here, bird's eyes is observer and the top view, which bird is looking, that is the perspective view. Now, consider a satellite. We can see the earth from the satellite also, because there are so many cameras fitted in our satellites. So, this time it is observer. There are lots of observer. If we are going to plan aerial photogrammetry, Then the camera lens is the observer, and all the photographs that appears on the screen is our picture plane and perspective, right? Now, for observer, consider two things again. Very first is observer's location. Now consider we are walking on the road. We saw a statue. Okay, we are looking at the statue. Now I'm going to cross the road. I'm looking at the statue from the front. The perspective view is different. The image of the statue in our mind is a perspective view. Okay, so if I'm looking from the front, it is different. If I'm looking from the back side, it is different. I'm looking from the left side, it is different. I'm looking from some angle, it is different. I'm walking away and again turning back with a long distance, then the perspective view is different. Why? Because the change of location of observer. That means we can conclude that if the location of observer change, the perspective view will be changed. And consider another point for observer, that is height. Now consider that you are in a building near that statue. You are at the ground floor and look at the statue. Now go to the first floor at the same place and again look at the statue. You will see the difference. Go on the fifth floor and look at the statue. It will look different. Go on the terrace and look at the same statue at the same place. But all the time, the perspective view will be different. Why? Your location is same, but the height of observer is going to change. First floor, fifth floor, or a terrace, your height of observer is changed. So, if the height of observer change, perspective view will be changed. Next point, that is vanishing point. Now consider any cubical thing. For example, I'm taking a book here. Okay, so any cubical object have three sets of parallel lines. Which three sets of? Consider the length. One side, another side for length. I'm turning it here. This is also length. This is also a length. So there are four lines regarding a length. Okay, this is one set of parallel line of length. Now consider the width. Okay, here width, here width. This is also a width. Turning back. This is also width. So again I am getting four lines related to width. This is the second set of parallel line. Now consider the height. Here is the height 1, 2, 3 and 4. Okay, so lengthwise, widthwise and heightwise we are getting three sets of parallel line. Now what does mean by parallel line? That means this line are never going to meet. Never going to meet. But in a perspective view, it look like they are going to meet. And if the parallel lines that are actually parallel, but in perspective view, it appears like it's a set of non-parallel line and it is merging at a point. The point where the non-parallel line meets is known as vanishing point. It may be a 1 vanishing point, 2 vanishing point and 3 vanishing point. Why up to 3 only? Because we are having only 3 sets of parallel lines. If one set of parallel line appears like a non-parallel set of parallel line, it's a 1 point perspective view. If two sets of parallel line appears like a non-parallel line, It's a 2-point perspective view, and same for the 3-point perspective view. So vanishing point is nothing but the point where the sets of parallel line, which is actually parallel but appears like it is a non-parallel set only in perspective view, and it is merging at a point. That point is known as vanishing point. Now consider the another thing, that is measure line. Yeah. Now in this, consider that any object is touching our picture plane. Any object is touching the picture plane. Suppose I am drawing a square here and it is touching picture plane. The square is object. Okay. If I am going to draw a vertical line from that point, the point of object which is touching the picture plane, and I am going to draw a vertical line through that point, then this vertical line is known as a measure line. What is the importance of the measure line? We know the perspective view is like a 3D view, that all the dimensions may change. It is continuously increasing or continuously decreasing, right? So the measure line is only the line in perspective view which shows the actual dimensions of the object. So it is very helpful to draw the perspective view. It's the line, it's a vertical line drawn from a point, the point where our object is going to touch the picture plane. That is known as measure line, and we can show the actual dimensions on measure line. Now consider angle of vision. Yeah, let me draw an observer in our figure. And we know if the location of observer change, our perspective view will be changed. If the height of observer get changed, perspective view will again change. Yeah, here is our observer. Consider this. Now, what is angle of vision? If you are looking my video, you can see my video in your laptop or a mobile screen, right? You are focusing at this video. That's why you are looking at me or this whiteboard. But other than this, you can see the background around your mobile or laptops, right? But you are focusing over this video, right? But you can see the things above this video and below this video also. So it's like a range between which we can see. We can see at some angle. Consider this two line from our eyes. The topmost portion which we can see and the bottommost portion that we can see. And we need to consider angle between these two lines. Angle between these two lines, and this angle is known as angle of vision. This angle is known as angle of vision. The topmost object we can see and the bottommost object we can see. The angle between this top and bottom line. This angle is known as angle of vision or a cone of vision because it is forming like a cone, a cubical cone we can say. Yeah, I'm erasing it till for now. Let's consider another definition, that is line of sight. What is line of sight? If we are talking about the perspective view, where the perspective view will appear on a picture plane. So we are going to look at the picture plane only, right? So from where we are looking, with the help of our eyes. So the ray from our eye is going to the picture plane. Then this line is known as line of sight. This is our line of sight. What is line of sight? The horizontal ray which is going out of our eyes up to the picture plane. This horizontal line is known as line of sight, and that is perpendicular to the picture plane. Now consider this point. Which point? Where the picture plane and line of sight meet. Now this point is the center of vision. So we are focusing on that point. Okay, that's the center of vision. The intersection point of picture plane and line of sight is known as the center of vision. Now consider a plane coming out of your eyes. Firstly, we have assumed a ray, a single line coming from our eye. That is a line of sight. Now what we have to consider, a horizontal plane coming out from our eyes. Suppose it's like this. It's like this. A horizontal plane coming out of our eyes, and this is also perpendicular to the picture plane. This plane is known as horizontal plane. Now consider next thing, horizontal line or horizon. Now the plane, horizontal plane coming out of our eyes is known as horizontal plane, and this is also perpendicular to the picture plane. Now concentrate at this line. I'm highlighting it. This line. Which is this line? The intersection line between our picture plane and horizontal plane. So the intersection line of horizontal plane and picture plane, this line is known as horizontal line or horizon. Now next thing, where the observer stands. Where the observer stands? On a ground plane. On a ground or on a ground plane. Suppose we are standing on a ground. Consider the ground as a ground plane. Okay, so it's a ground plane where the observer stands. And again, there is another line, that is ground line. Ground plane is what? Consider ground that we are standing over it. That ground is a horizontal plane, so consider it as a horizontal plane. Now this is also perpendicular to the picture plane. Now Picture plane and the ground plane meets at a line. I'm again highlighting that line. This is the intersection line of picture plane and ground plane. Picture plane and ground plane. Intersection line is known as a ground line. So these are the terminologies related to perspective view. Thank you.